I say to myself, how can I get rid of my own shadow? Impossible or not impossible? Without my shadow, would I die? Without my shadow, would I gain life? Increase my situation or decrease it? Be free or left to die?
My name is June Alison Gibbons, and I have a twin sister called Jennifer, and we're known as silent twins.
In 1982, Broadmoor Hospital admitted its youngest ever inmates. At just 19, June Gibbons and her twin sister Jennifer were sentenced indefinitely for arson. Aubrey and Gloria Gibbons came from Barbados. They arrived in England in 1960, but Aubrey served in the RAF and the family never really settled anywhere. June Allison and Jennifer Lorraine were born on April the 11th, 1963. Aubrey and Gloria were overjoyed. They felt doubly blessed by the arrival of identical twins.
We were very happy then. Very happy. We knew we were twins at that age. We had each other. We didn't need anybody else, really. We had each other.
June and Jennifer were late speaking and shared a speech impediment that made them difficult to understand.
We had our language. Me and my sister spoke. We knew what we were saying. My mother had to guess what we were saying. And she was the one that was a bit worried about us.
And they're always shy. And they're not, not speaking. Well, they spoke, but we couldn't understand what they were saying. Yeah. So that's the trouble. And then when they knew that we couldn't understand, they went back in the shell,
They communicated between themselves. That was the thing with the twins, They could make signs. And if you asked one a question, say June, she have to look at Jenny before they communicated. That seemed to run in most twins, look at each other before they could answer. They would just look at each other, a glance. We thought that was part and parcel of being twins.
How did it feel for you that people couldn't understand what you were saying?
A bit frustrating. We had to repeat ourselves more often. And then we couldn't be bothered to repeat ourselves. We didn't speak and left it. And they kept saying, what are you saying? What are you saying? And we just say, you can't hear us now, you can't hear us never. So we decided not to speak, and it got into a habit of not speaking.
In 1974, the family settled in Haverfordwest in Wales. They lived on an RAF estate, and the twins, now 11, went to the county secondary school. They were conscientious and well-behaved, but silent. This puzzled their teachers and enraged their peers, who bullied them so badly that they were let out of school 5 minutes early.
We felt we were different. We were twins, and we were a different colour. So they picked on us. We were like that. And we didn't speak to anybody. They got like extra strange. That we didn't speak to anybody. And they kept saying, why won't they speak? Can they speak English? Why can't they talk? And the more they said that, the more we shut up.
It was in a vaccination session against tuberculosis in 1976. And of course, they were very obvious to spot because at that time there were no coloured people in Pembrokeshire at all that I knew of. And there I had this row of little white arms, and then a black one, and then another couple of white arms, and another black one. Now this was different, never seen this before. And so I tried to get them to converse with me, and it was a waste of time.
Literally, we taught them like with names and all silly things like chocolate drops and things like that. Yes. So that probably upset them, Mm-hmm.
They were totally expressionless. You spoke to them, they didn't react, they didn't look at you. 13-year-olds tear about the place. Now, these two little girls were walking, one behind the other, heads down, and as if they were in some sort of a chain gang. I'd never come across anything like it before. I'd met funny people before. I'd met mad people before, kooks and all the rest of it. I'd never met anything like this.
They were assessed by a child psychiatrist who diagnosed them elective mutes. The school was unable to deal with them, and so at the age of 14 they were transferred to the Eastgate Centre for Special Education. Kathy Arthur, their new teacher, prepared for their arrival.
The reports from the school were scanty and not really terribly helpful. I only heard verbally that they demonstrated dumb insolence, which was not the impression I had at all, and that they were very negative in school and secretive, but there was nothing about their academic level. Oh, and also that they didn't speak at all, the school said, and that it was thought they didn't speak English, but a sort of African click language.
Right, you put your trays in the front there, put your books away.
This unique film of the girls was made by Kathy Arthur to chart the twins' progress at Eastgate. Much of it was filmed secretly through a two-way mirror. She quickly realised that the girls spoke to each other when on their own, and so she hid microphones in the room to record their conversations. Although unintelligible at first, by slowing the tape down she discovered that their secret language was none other than English.
My name is Jennifer, all right, and again? That's much clearer. Right, let's have it again. My name is Jennifer. Right, you feed this through.
The girls rarely spoke to anyone face to face, but would occasionally respond to a machine or in writing.
My name is Jennifer. Right, good. I get the next card. I listen to two of each, and then I leave you to do the others on your own.
We used, I think, every test in the book to try and get an indication of their abilities. And we found that there was a difference in terms of ability, and also that there was a difference in terms of personality.
I don't know how often you plat it. How often is it platted? Is it once a week? Twice a day? Once a month? Once a year? No idea. Or perhaps she platted it first day of your life, and that was it. Come on, you tell me, because I don't know. Every day.
Did you like to be known as twins then or not?
Not then, no. When we were children, maybe, yeah. When we got to the awkward teenage age, we decided that we wanted to be individual. We didn't want to be known as twins. We'd rather be individual people with our own mind, our own different personalities.
I've got to go and see Mr. Harry about something, and then I'll come and tell you when it's time for dinner. All right? Thank you. That was a good lesson today.
As June and Jennifer became locked in their twinship, they progressively withdrew from their family. In the safety of their bedroom, they created a rich make-believe world of dolls. They spoke only to Rosie, their youngest sister, who shared the room.
Big bedroom, very big. Had a big cupboard in it. That's where the house was, the doll's house. Used to play dolls. Dolls in the bedroom. For families, dolls. Mother doll, father doll, sisters and brothers. I used to like playing dolls, I liked it, yeah. You used to do things on a tape recorder, do plays, dress up in clothes and all that.
The silent girls acted out a life they could only dream of and committed it to tape.
Right, I'll get back to you, Bishop. I must show you the woman's nice dress. Thank you. Steps going down the steps. I'm seeing that through the door. Hi, Neil. Sure nice to see you. Hi, you boy, you look smashing in those clothes. You look lovely in that dress. Don't you? She looks lovely.
We spoke to Rosemary, our sister, up until she was about 11. Then we stopped talking to her as well, and she moved out of the bedroom and moved into her other room, into her own bedroom. So we stopped talking to her, we stopped talking to our sister and brother and our parents.
So you must have been quite upset when they stopped talking.
It was, yeah, really upset.
I said, bye. Gina's mother called after her. What time are you coming back home? About 9 or 10 again. Won't be long anyway. Don't come back too late. I won't. Bye. This enjoyable story was a good story, wasn't it, about 3 girls?
Yeah.
Lydia was played by Rosemary. Gina was played by Jennifer. And Nina was played by June. I don't remember who they were. But at the end of this familiar, happy story, and we say goodbye, from Nina first. Goodbye. And Gina, goodbye. And Lydia, goodbye. So long. The time is 9:25, and time for the news with Richard Baker.
When we were a family, we didn't eat meals with them. We ate our meals in the bedroom. We couldn't chew in front of people. We couldn't eat food, drink, or do anything like that. That's normal. Normal everything that people do, they for granted, we couldn't do it. We were too sensitive.
Wherever possible, the twins will queue and sit together for the meal, and will often eat in unison. During meal times, the rest of the children take absolutely no notice of the 2 girls. Although the twins start their dinner at the same time as the other children, the amount of food they put on the fork and the speed at which they eat is so slow that while everyone else is finishing their second course and leaving the dining room, the twins are still busy with their first.
My relationship with Jennifer was quite turbulent. It was a big struggle to be an individual, being a twin. If you can't find the right step to break out and be yourself, you never will. You were stuck up being twin.
The idea of separation came really from the girls. It was something they wrote about a lot, and they would always say, we will talk if we're separated, we'll walk normally, we'll eat normally, we'll do all these things if we're separated.
It would be a good idea if we separate. I think one should go and one should stay here. We act stupid when we're together. Some people think we don't want to separate, but we want to, because it really is the best thing for us.
It would be good if we separate. We both fight for the best things. We're both willing to lead our own lives, but when we're together, we just keep depending on each other too much.
We tried it on the basis then of getting the girls to decide which of them was going to move. And it was the only bit of power that we ever had, in a way, that we put the decision back onto them. One of you's going away, you have to decide who it's to be. And that created a tremendous anger between the girls.
We said, well, I'm not going to come often, you go. No, I'm not going to come often. You go and I go. You stay in Eastgate and I go to come often. Then the next day, I go to come often and you stay in Eastgate. Then the next day, let's both go to come often, let's both stay in Eastgate.
They were shouting at one another. And people couldn't believe it, because here you had the girls who'd been quiet, nothing coming through. And then you had this tremendous uproar and noise and violence towards one another. As Jennifer saying to June, you are Jennifer, you are Jennifer. And this is quite extraordinary. It gave us an insight into the relationship which we'd never had before.
Somewhere I have a real twin in the world. June can't be my real twin. My real twin was born the exact time as me, has my rising sign, my looks, my ways, my dreams, my ambitions. He or she will have my weaknesses, failures, opinions. All this makes a twin. No differences. I can't stand differences. June hasn't got my mind, my looks, not even my build. My mother, when once she measured us, told me I was slightly taller than June. I was not exactly pleased.
I felt that June would cope better with the separation because she was the more malleable, because she seemed to, of the two of them, have a few inner resources, whereas I felt that Jennifer had no inner resources whatsoever.
I said, why me? My whole life is why me. Why me to be the one that has to do this and that first? So I say, I'm not leaving the home to go to Carmarthen first. Why me first? Why got into the Jennifer first? Why me all the time? My whole life is why me. That's my life story. Why me?
June had stopped eating, she'd stopped moving, she'd stopped dressing herself, and she would sit on her bed in the morning, having, I don't know whether she'd slept, she certainly hadn't undressed. Having laid on the bed, she would sit crying in a sort of catatonic state with liquid from her nose and her eyes and her mouth hanging in a great beard down to here, with the unit staff mopping her face, not speaking, not going to the toilet. I mean, obviously, we had to say, enough's enough. People said the twins' behaviour is a game. It was very obvious that nobody was enjoying the game. Certainly the adults around them could see where it was going to lead them. And you could see from the film that the girls couldn't break out of it. It was the extreme distress that June displayed that led to the breakdown of the separation. We failed them, but I can't really, casting my mind back, think what else we could have done.
My feeling was of really impending disaster. And I think my colleague, Dr. Evan Davis, was saying things like, when they get to 16 and 17, they'll get picked up by an adult psychiatrist who will immediately categorise them as schizophrenic and want to incarcerate them on that basis.
We wondered where we'd end up. We wondered what would happen to us if we didn't speak. Because when we were 16, we were in our bedroom, and we weren't mixing like other teenagers, going out, nightclubbing, and going to discos. So we wondered where we would end up. Whether we would end up staying in our bedroom right through our 20s, writing books, or whether we would go out, make friends, and get married, have kids. It wasn't to be, was it?
Now aged 16, June and Jennifer left Eastgate and school altogether. For the next 2 years they left their private world only to sign on the dole. Lonely and isolated, they found pen pals all over the world and spied on life outside through binoculars. Paralysed by an unspoken pact to remain silent, the girls sought an answer to their predicament.
We sent away for a course. It was called The Art of Conversation. So we got the course, paid for it, and done it. Trying to talk to a family, of course, but it didn't work. It didn't work.
So what did the course tell you to do?
It said how to communicate to your family, how to communicate to people, and say the right words at the right time, how to be friendly, how to talk and say the right sentences, and speak at the right time, and what to say. Nice day, isn't it? Or nice weather, isn't it? But we didn't do it. We tried our best, but we couldn't do it. Too hard. We were stuck in a rut now, and that rut really continued for a long time. We couldn't break the habit.
New sounds now emerged from behind the firmly shut door of the bedroom. The twins had decided to become novelists.
All night long, typing our books out. Adamant that we were going to be writers of some sort. If we couldn't speak and express ourselves, we would express ourselves in our books. And we had to do something to make the family feel proud of us. Write books. There's something to be proud of, isn't it? We can't speak, can't contribute in a normal way. We do it in a different way. Write books and be bestsellers and let our family feel proud of us. Now the twins have written books, they're famous, and it's so nice.
There was subtle colour in his bedroom, sable bricks beside yellow brimstone drawers, beside wood painted livid red. There was colour in the faces too, overlapping, blending and clashing, so that the entire room displayed a world
teenagers all around, jumping on top of each other, pulling anybody to the floor with salacious frenzy. They screamed loudly to the music, pulling out blades and stabbing their best friends to death.
Without the family, sparing the life of a little Russian. He's just a boy without the family,
By the summer of 1981, the twins were 18. They had filled countless notebooks and diaries with their hopes, fears and ambitions. They could bear their self-imposed imprisonment no longer. It was time to leave the bedroom.
Oh, baby. Just gotta get out. Just gotta go right out of town.
2 American brothers had come to the girls' attention at Eastgate. Highly disturbed, the boys had committed arson and theft. America had long held a fascination for the twins. They became obsessed by the boys and went in search of them.
We fell in love with them. All of them. Her family. All the American boys. So we fell in love with them and we became besotted over them. So every day we get up in the morning, we go out and see them. All the way to West Hook. We had £19 girl money every week. I was spending all the money on taxi fares. So come rain, come shine, we'd be out there, dressed up, makeup, hats, wigs, whatever, clothes. I would say, look at the West Hook and see the boys.
The twins interpreted the boys' responses as love. A new world was introduced to them of sex, drugs and alcohol, which brought about an unexpected result.
I felt like a release. Okay, we can speak now and be ourselves. Lose our inhibitions and be ourselves and come out and speak properly and laugh and talk like normal teenagers. And we come back about midnight at night time, stumble back drunk into the house upstairs about our diaries, and say what we've done in the diaries. Then we say, let's go out again.
God knows what memories would be mine had that summer not told me the secrets of love, passion and sex. They are all there in my mind like a string of golden flashes. Somebody gave me an opportunity to do something about my life, and I took it, as a child will take candy.
The American boys, I'm sure, would have abused them, would have taken advantage of them, would have bullied them. I felt the boys were very destructive and damaged individuals. And if they'd been involved with them, I was very fearful.
As the girls vied for the attentions of the boys, the struggle between them intensified and grew violent.
I'm not ashamed to say that I tried to kill my sister. Things got out of hand. I did not succeed in strangling her with the wire to the radio. I'm sure she wanted to kill me too. I have a grave feeling she did.
We were fighting. I pushed her in the river. I said to myself, if I kill her now, maybe I'll have a happy life. No more hassle, no more heart, stealing my personality, no more fighting, no more arguing. Get it over with. I pushed her in the river and I pushed her and held her down. I said, right, go on, die, go and die.
She did not succeed, for I spluttered free from her grip. We yelled abuse at one another. We brought old stories out from the past. Silly things, though. My mind was a mass of tangles. I felt crazy. Later, we cooled down.
Notwithstanding their battles, the twins felt happy, alive, and in love for the first time ever.
That was the summer of my life, that was. That was the best summer we ever had. The best summer and the last summer outside. That summer must have been the last summer we had for 12 years. Outside, in the world, the real world.
Their newfound happiness was short-lived.
One day when we were out, we broke into the house and we found the card and it said, going back to America on July the 7th. And that broke our hearts. So we said, oh, they're leaving us. July the 7th, they're leaving us. What are we going to do when you're gone?
Jennifer and I are now desolation, searching wide-open deserted places, a craving subconscious for love and sex that wasn't there, the aftermath, the recovering, and then a new phase. Jennifer and I stayed in our own environment. We needed a rest.
But it wasn't long before they ventured out again.
In September, we said we started going out at night time, nightlife, hanging about streets, looking for trouble.
Dear Diary, my nature has turned to crime. I'm a labelled thief, but haven't I always been one? All this week, I've been wanting to burn down the tractor store in Snowdrop Lane. I burned it down today, with the help of Jennifer, of course. The greatest moment of my life. We opened all the cans of petrol and spread it everywhere. Can you believe that I'm the arsonist of Haverfordwest? Yes, I am. I'm going to burn down the whole damn town. Oh, yes, I am. You can bet your heart about that. Firemen were everywhere, running everywhere, trying to smash a window to get in. All the while, my lovely, glorious fire was licking its way through the roof, and the thick smoke filled the night sky. A picture that will live in my mind forever. Oh, what a sinful, evil, selfish mind. I know the Lord will forgive me. It's been a long, painful, hard year. Don't I deserve to express my distress? Wouldn't it be great to see this in the papers? Police are looking for an arsonist. Well, of course they are. She lives right here in Fursey Park. Isn't it ludicrous? Perhaps the cops know who it is. This will go on until they catch me. I sometimes wonder if I'll be spending my first Christmas in jail.
The same day we got caught, it was full moon it was. I said to Jennifer, is it wise going out on a full moon? We might get caught. The full moon day, bad things happen on the full moon. He said, stay away or you're under arrest. And that was it. Our life had ended. In Boston, in Petter, with our diaries. That's it. Finish. You done it. You've been here. You're not asking to have arrest. So you're not asking us then. We caught you. By diaries.
The twins remained in Pucklechurch for 7 months awaiting trial. Silent once more, their diaries alone bore witness to their feelings.
My darling mother, a woman who did not deserve all this, who grew up and married a man who raised a family of twins. Twins who were to cause all the trouble, anxiety and misery in her innocent life. How could she possibly forgive? How can she ever say she loves us and then look back on her troublesome past? Her anguish, her heart is broken. It doesn't seem able to mend. With God's help it will. My mother is lost. My father seems on the way. I want them back in my heart.
The twins found life unbearable together and unbearable apart. They shared a cell, fought and were parted. Inconsolable, they were reunited, only to fight and be parted once again. Trapped in this self-perpetuating cycle, they could not or would not talk to anyone but each other. Their behaviour mystified the doctors and lawyers assigned to them, who had to resort to unusual means of communication.
We managed to get rigged up an internal telephone within Pucklechurch, and they did agree to some speech on the telephone. And one was able to get a little more information on the basis of that.
We talked to the doctor about life. Jennifer told him about how she hears voices, sees visions, and wants to kill me. I told him how sensitive I am, how I pick up people's moods, have dreams and premonitions. He is puzzled at our non-communication with my parents. Haven't spoken sensibly to them since the beginning of my teenage years. I said it was a habit. He wasn't impressed. He thought we were perfectly capable of talking, but I said I'm too withdrawn. Jennifer is more withdrawn than me. She needs more help. I told him I'd like to kill her. I would strangle her. She told him how we attempted to drown each other in the river. I said that only one of us should have been born. Life would have been smoother.
As the time went by, you had this feeling of a certain inevitability of what was going to happen, because they were being dealt with by an adult psychiatrist who would have had his own opinion about what the problem would have been. And then I felt that they were still children, really.
I think what I was seeing, in fact, was prodromal schizophrenia. That means that, in other words, they probably had their exacerbation of their behaviour disorder was, in fact, an early stage of a schizophrenic illness which hadn't yet become manifest and did become manifest a year or two later.
Spry, crisp and dry is what we labelled him. He came to see us about our lives and saying we'd like to come to the hospital. called Broadmoor. And he have you heard of Broadmoor? No. He never heard of Broadmoor? No. Want to go there? Yeah. I want to go there for a while. But 3 years. See how you get on. If we get well, we can go then. Get released. Yeah, we'll go for 3 years. No more, just 3 years.
I see visions of Broadmoor on a warm, sunny May day. What will I be doing next year? Probably sitting outside on a lawn, sipping lemonade. Nurses in white walking around, lounging around, and I'd be free to sit there, perhaps sewing or knitting. Still young, but more mature, more communicative, more flexible.
The advice that had come back from the professionals was that these children were psychopathic arsonists, that they were dangerous, both to themselves and to the society at large. And this certainly didn't match up with my feelings in the matter at all. And the parents were unaware of what was going on and were happy to leave the matter in the hands of British justice, in which they had enormous faith.
The possibility of their going to prison would have been in their worst interest. They would have had a long prison sentence for the crimes that they had committed, and they would have gone to prison and been no better, had no treatment, and this would have left a situation in which they would have come out far worse than they would have gone in. I thought that they were in need of treatment. They had been in need of treatment, I thought, for 4 or 5 years before I saw them. Unfortunately, the only place that they could have treatment was in a secure environment.
Why Broadmoor?
That was the only hospital that would accept them.
Persuaded that Broadmoor was the answer to all their problems, the girls were happy to plead guilty to their crimes.
Jude, I think Gibbons plead guilty or not guilty. And I said guilty. Jude and Valerian Gibbons plead guilty or not guilty. Guilty. Alright, therefore I put you in the care of Broadmoor Hospital, where you will stay until you get better. You stay there indefinitely until you get better. We said, yeah, all right.
Dad turned to me and said, "What does indefinite period mean?" And I had to say, well, you know, they'll be there for a very, very long time. And I think it is at that stage that Mr. and Mrs. Gibbons really realised what was happening. And by 3 o'clock it was all over. They went down to say goodbye to June and Jennifer, and then we went out into the gardens opposite. And I think we were all pretty traumatised by it all. It was over so quickly. And the defence called one witness, and that was Dr. Hamilton from Broadmoor. There was no other witnesses called for the defence.
In a few hours, I shall be driving out of Pucklechurch gates for the last time. I shall be taken further to the land of hope and glory. There I shall stand in my flowered skirt and black jacket, aged 19 years. And one day I will look back on that day, Monday the 21st of June, and what will I think? All I will see is my sister and me, as vulnerable as flowers in hell, unimportant yet important, flying towards another phase of life.
The reality did not match the anticipation.
My first impression was that it was a big place, and there's so many people there. Too many people on the ward to cope with. Too many people. And the ward was so big. Too many people on the ward. So I said, I can't cope here. Too many people on the ward. Can't speak, can't cope.
Quite a forbidden place, Broadmoor. When we first started going there, there's a long queue, and you have to sign in and sign out, and you're going through all these locked doors and all that. Of course, you know, you say to yourself, by hell, what are you doing here? You know. But of course, then you got 2 daughters in there, so, you know, it was bad. Of course, the worst thing for me was when you had to leave them. You know, you give them a hug and kiss and all that, and say, be good now and all that sort of thing. And then they were walking with the distance. I think for me that was the hardest part, know that they'd still be there, you know.
Aubrey was very distressed by it all because he felt here were his 2 daughters who were growing up, going through adulthood in somewhere like Broadmoor. And he would say, well, imagine how you would feel if your daughters were in somewhere like that and going to a disco on a Saturday night with people like Peter Sutcliffe there.
June and Jennifer were kept on separate wards. After 2 years, they were still not speaking. Now officially diagnosed as schizophrenics, they were given tranquilizers and other drugs. They began to speak.
They gave us a tranquilizer every week, 300 milligrams a week. And we lost our shyness. We got a hazy feeling on the head, a numb feeling in the mind, which made us forget our shyness and our consciousness until we forgot ourselves and we started speaking.
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't think the twins were really mental. They were just like maybe a bit disturbing by not able to speak and things like that, you know. But in the words mental, I don't think they were up to this day, no. Because the letters they wrote to me, not a mental person who write those, no.
My dear Mum, hello, how are you? I'm all right. I hope you and Dad are in good health and spirits. I'm writing this letter on the day of your wedding anniversary. I hope you received the card all right, and I hope you like the photograph which I sent.
My dear Mum, hello, thanks for your letter. I hope your cold will soon go away. Got some good news for you. They had a long meeting about the two of us on Friday. I was hoping we'd be on the same ward, but it doesn't matter.
And they used to write daily to each other. Letters, you know, exchange letters when they were in Broadmoor. Well, as they were in different wards, one would tell the other what was going on in her ward and the other, you know, correspond to each other. And then they'd visit each other. They were allowed to visit. In the evenings, June would come over to Jennifer or the other way around.
Dearest Jennifer, I've just phoned Dad and now I'm sitting quietly and nonchalantly. My mind is numb and I'm relaxing. When our time comes, we'll get out of this place, but by the grace of God, it will be next April. So cling on to this hope. And as the month tells us, we'll be out on All Fool's Day. When I look at you, I see myself. And when you look at me, you see yourself. Love, June.
My dear June, I agree a lot with you about we two being old spinsters left on the shelf, because to be honest, I've had enough of men. Any relationship always ends for me. I can do without them. You are my only relationship, like sister to sister. I know I'll die young and way before you, but it doesn't really matter. I only hope you'll be happy still. Love, Jenny.
Now communicating freely, the twins couldn't understand why they weren't released.
We tribunals, hearings, court hearings, every year. And they say, well, Gibbon friends still needs a bit of progress. We keep them in for a couple of years. And we say, a couple of years? What's going on? We're normal. So next year they say, and the girls can make a little bit more progress. We'll keep them here for another year. Then another year after that. Then another year. Then another year. Then another year. Until it's 12 years.
We are forgotten, faded away, never to be seen again. What sort of day will it be when I walk free? What kind of weather? How old will I be? Jennifer and I are two twins of history, coloured girls. Life will go on outside, passing away, memories of our trial, of our case. Where are we now, they will say? What do they look like now? And one day we'll be quietly, secretly released, mature women. All things must end, new things begin.
In March 1993, a month before their 30th birthday, they finally received permission for transfer from Broadmoor to Caswell Clinic, a medium-secure unit in Wales. The first step on their road to freedom. The day before they travelled, Jennifer felt unwell.
She complained of being weak and tired. She had forgotten when the bus to go. She was a bit tired. She had a bit of head on my shoulder. And I said, and then she said, at last, we're out of Broadmoor.
I was at home and I was rang about phone went about 9 o'clock at night, and it was Aubrey, to say that Jennifer had died. And
Jennifer died of acute myocarditis, inflammation of the heart muscle, a rare disorder that is seldom fatal.
I always remember this day, our first sight of Jennifer lying in the hospital morgue. You know, it was devastating. There she was, you know, lying peacefully, but I still have bits of this testy on her forehead. I don't know, the bits and pieces they put on her when they're doing these tests, you know. But it was shocking.
And I take her here. I was lying there in hospital bed, lying there quite stiff. And they left me in there half an hour. Her hat was on the sideboard, her earrings were on the sideboard. So I took the hat and the earrings, and I kept them to this day. And the dress that she's wearing, I kept that as well, as a souvenir, as a mark of respect for her. I was quite devastated when I knew that she was dead, and she's just gone. She wasn't there anymore.
March the 9th, 1993. Today my beloved twin sister Jennifer died. She is dead. Her heart stopped beating. She will never recognise me. Mum and Dad came to see her body. I kissed her stone-coloured face. I went hysterical with grief.
For June, a year later in Caswell Clinic, Jennifer's death has brought grief but also freedom. Freedom from the intense relationship that bound them together, and from which it seems only death could release them. Freedom, too, from incarceration. The Home Office has decided to release June on parole.
We all look forward to this day. And after some 13 years in secure hospitals, then of course for June it will be a bit of freedom for her. You know, she do what she wants, within reason, of course. This time, 1993, yeah, this time last year, it's coincided with Jennifer's untimely passing. Of course, it's a year on, it's still, I say, it gets to you. I mean, you still feel, I won't say depression, but it's just the recurring images coming back to you. You know, it sort of haunts you. But hopefully June, I suppose, she'll be able to to live for both of them and make good. I think that would be a fitting tribute to Jennifer's memory if she can, do something with her life.
After 12 years in captivity, it's a feeling of total freedom. It's unbelievable that I'm actually going out in the big wide world, doing normal things that normal people do. I've been locked up for so long. It's good, feels good. I feel that I'm living for her. This is what she would have wanted, for me to go on living for her. And every day I wake up and say to myself, well, there's one more day for me, but one more day for my sister as well. And I live for her. And what I see and do, she does as well. She's not missing out on nothing because she's with me.
Isn't that quite a big responsibility?
It's a big responsibility, but it's making me stronger. Because the more I think about her, the more stronger I feel. The stronger I get. Knowing that she is lying somewhere and sleeping, and I'm still alive, I feel that's a privilege, really. I mean, am I lucky or something to be still alive when she's gone? I thought I'd never get over her death, but it's made me 10 times stronger to carry on for her sake.
Alright, Joe?
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
A bit anxious or what?
Yes, excited.
Yes.
Yeah. But here, the lipstick in your face.
Yeah, you just put it there.
Yeah. Okay.
That's like the photograph that we've got. What do you think?
Eating a bit slow, aren't we? Eating slow, aren't we?
That's quite fast.
We're playing a game, really. We're playing a game.
Are you? What are you doing?
We're eating first. I bit a fork in and she does it after me. That's something. What are we eating, dinner?
Peas and potatoes, all I could see, and gravy being put on it.
We're quite normal there, aren't we?
Did you enjoy the food there?
Yeah, we're quite normal there, aren't we?
Yes.
Everyone's going now. Except for us two. How old are we there? 14?
14. 14 and a half. Can you remember this?
Yeah, I think so. She's laughing now.
Yeah.
How old are you, June? I should remake that one, shouldn't I? And say, how old are you, Jennifer?
I tried coming there, I'm not.
Not on this film.
Oh.
We only have Jennifer doing this. But the day that we took it, we did 10 minutes with you and 10 minutes with her. But she wasn't specially chosen for this.
No.
And again, I am 14 years old. Right? Good.
Seeing her like that, not knowing that she'd actually been dead in 3 years' time. Well,
Yes.
Strange, isn't it?
Yes.
What do you feel about it?
One big mess. One big mess, and I'm getting out of it now. Bit by bit, day by day, I'm getting out of the mess. But I can't forget it. It's the 12 years that I was in Broadmoor, and the 12 years that I was with my sister Jennifer. I can't forget Broadmoor without forgetting Jennifer. She was there, and she played a big part in it. So when I remember Jennifer, I remember Broadmoor. And when I remember Broadmoor, I remember Jennifer. So I can't erase it from my memory every day of the rest of my life.
Maybe we were to blame as parents, I don't know. It's what parents, they always have the, pick up the pieces, they always, you know, you got to, people blame you, but, you know, all the time you're going to do your best.
I'm still a twin now. And that won't change, will it? She might be like here more. I was born twin and I died twin. That's the way it goes. Hello, Jenny. I brought you some flowers.
Something